Hello, Nerd Clan. Welcome back. This is, of course, the pre-show for the Potterverse. You all know what to do. You hit that share button below and share the Potterverse in any way, shape, or form that you find magically suitable. So maybe you belong to a Harry Potter group. You could share it in there. Maybe you have some friends that love HP. You could share it in a message. Friends on Instagram, feel free to screenshot this and share it to your stories. Facebook friends, you can also share in your stories. Twitter, you get to retweet. And our YouTube peeps, you get to share however you like. But the trick is, when you've shared this video, you get to come on back to Marion Blake Media, wherever you are, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and you get to write Expecto Patronum. And that is our code word that you shared it. Yes. So excited about that. So thank you all, of course, so much for tuning in. This, of course, is the last chapter of this book.
It's incredible. I can't believe we're in the last chapter of this book.
Honestly. And then,
Bananas.
of course, next week we're going to be doing the mailbag episode. So if you're not able to join us the entire time for the Potterverse, we want to make sure that you know that next week is the mailbag episode, meaning you get to submit questions that you wanted us to discuss about anywhere in the Chamber of Secrets, thoughts that you had. Really, it's just kind of like
it's driven by you. It's
wrap-up.
agenda free, guys. It's
Yes.
driven by you. I mean, we'll have some wrap up thoughts for the entire book. But it's really driven by you. That's when you guys get to come into the comments section and go hog wild, or send us all the emails or whatever you want.
Yes.
It's agenda free. Love it.
Agenda. I think it's funny how you say that.
Why?
I don't know. It just is different than how I say it.
How do you say it?
It sounds like you were saying a gender. Like at first I thought you
okay.
said a gender free.
Oh, no.
And I was like, yeah, any gender can be a part of this, Blake. Why would it matter? Agenda. That's the Boston coming out of you.
That's the Boston. That's true. Listen, speaking of the Boston and everything that's going on in the U.S. right now, we would be remiss right now if we didn't acknowledge the elephant in the room, which is we have a big election going on, and things are pretty wild in the States right now. So for those of you who are viewers in the States, you guys know exactly what we're talking about. And I'm pretty sure that everybody in the world knows how wild things are right now. So it's the elephant in the room. I just want to acknowledge it. Kind of like how we, at the beginning of the pandemic, just acknowledged the craziness. And, you know, it doesn't matter what side you're on. What matters is that everybody voted and everybody did what they did. And everyone's voice is being heard, and that is great. That is the point. But like we did for Outlander and for This Is Us when the pandemic first started, I just want to take just 5 seconds to just let it in.
Okay.
Let in the fear. Let in the anger. Let
in the awkwardness.
The awkwardness and the anxiety. Let in all of it. Just let it in. So, just breathe in. It's just 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5.
I breathed in way before that.
You did.
So we are not talking politics.
No, we are not.
And if announcements get made while we're making this live podcast, please do not share it here, as this is a politics-free podcast, okay? Yes. Can we get some hearts in the comments section if you feel the same way, that we need to have a little safe place?
This is a safe place.
Okay? No politics in the Potterverse.
That's it. No politics.
Even though there are politics in the Potterverse itself.
Yes.
No real-life politics in the Potterverse.
Yeah, no real-life politics. We're not here for that. I thought we would be remiss if we just didn't acknowledge it and just accept it and then move on.
Agreed.
You know, I think it's important to acknowledge it and just do what we do, go crazy with Potter, and let the world go for the next hour or so, and then have some fun and then go to bed because I'm tired.
Yes.
I was up late last night. So I see all the hots in the comments. Thank you, guys. Thank you. By the way, that is hot, not agenda.
Hot.
Okay, so Marvin,
yes.
Anything else that you want to talk about? Of course, Mary, as well as I think most of our listeners here know, this is a fly-in-the-wall experience. You guys get a chance to see what it looks like when we do our podcast and our pre-show and throughout the rest of the show. If a comment or whatever does happen to come in that we see and we think is apropos to the conversation that we're having at that moment, we will call it out. But for the most part, please continue to have your own conversations in the particular forums that you're in. We will see all the comments, whether it's on Instagram or YouTube or Twitter or Facebook. We see it all. So please go ahead, have those conversations. Those are really important. That is part of the community that we have here. Anything else you got, Marvin?
That's it. That's it. We are good to go.
All right. Well, let's make a podcast, shall we?
Yes,
let's
we
do it.
Shall.
10 seconds for
room tone. Lumos, it's 10 seconds of room tone. Be quiet with your purring. I know you're excited.
You're still talking.
Head on over to jointhenerdclan.com and become part of our official Nerd Clan community. Get access to premium podcasts, free swag, bonus Q&As, bonus After Dark podcast episodes, and much more. You can check all of this out at jointhenerdclan.com. From Providence, Rhode Island, welcome to the Potterverse. It's a podcast dedicated to the book and film universe of Harry Potter. So grab your favorite wands and time turners. Let's step into the night and pursue that flighty temptress adventure. Everybody, and welcome. My name's Mary Larson.
My name is Blake, and I wish I was just woken up one day in the middle of the night and be like, hey, you ready for a feast?
Yes.
You ready to just get up and eat?
Are you hungry? Do you want a snack?
Let's have some fun with that, shall we?
For our friends joining us live, what snack would you be happy to be woken up at 1 a.m. to eat? For me,
that's a good one.
Nacho chips.
Nacho chips, huh?
Like a full-out nacho bar. Can you imagine? Dumbledore's like, McGonagall, go make sure that they just have this random feast. And McGonagall's like, I'm kind of craving margaritas. Right? Was it a Mexican celebration? Yes. If I was McGonagall, that's how I would do it. All right. So, of course, this is the final chapter of the Chamber of Secrets. Dobby's reward. So excited. And can we just have a moment, for those of you who have been with us since the beginning of the Potterverse, can we just have a moment to love on the fact that we have now made it together through 2 books. We, of course, started the Potterverse when we were knee-deep into COVID, and we're still knee-deep into COVID, if not waist-deep into COVID right now. And honestly, reading Harry Potter with you all as podcast listeners and friends who join us live on social media, you are our Lumos in the time of Nox. You're a place for us to leave. For those of you who are listening right now on the podcast at a different day and time, today is November 4th, the day that we're recording this. And as Blake announced earlier in our pre-show, you know, we acknowledge the elephant in the room that the United States currently doesn't know who won the presidency, and it's a little awkward and tensions are high. And without us getting political, because there's no politics in the Potterverse podcast, that is, let's do some alliteration. No politics in the podcast of the Potterverse. We just, once again, love to be able to go somewhere else and go into the imaginary world of Harry Potter and to Hogwarts, and with one of my favorite characters, Dobby. So really, really pumped about this.
Yes.
You know, there's a lot of quotes in this particular chapter that I love. Like I think of so very often. For example, so I'm just going to read all of them. I know I usually read like one passage, but it only put me in Gryffindor, said Harry in a defeated voice, because I asked not to go into Slytherin. Exactly, said Dumbledore, beaming once more, which makes you very different from Tom Riddle. It is our choices, Harry, that show us who we truly are, or what we truly are. Let me start that over because it's my favorite. It is our choices, Harry, that show what we truly are, far more than our abilities.
Great job, Mary.
That is one of my favorite Dumbledore quotes, and it's something that I even say to our kids.
Yeah, actually, it's one of those things. When our son was born, I wrote a big board of 20 life lessons that I thought he should follow. They're all from various movies or films or books that I really love, or philosophy that I really love, and I wrote them all out on a big board, and that is one of them. Yeah, that quote is, I think that's number 11.
Another one of my favorite lines is, Master has given a sock, said the elf in wonderment. Master gave it to Dobby. What's that? Spat Mr. Malfoy. What did you say? Got a sock, said Dobby in disbelief. Master threw it, and Dobby caught it, and Dobby is free.
Dobby's free.
Oh, my goodness. Harry Potter freed Dobby, said the elf shrilly, gazing up at Harry, moonlight from the nearest window reflected in his orb-like eyes. Harry Potter set Dobby free. Least I could do, Dobby, said Harry, grinning. Just promise never to try and save my life again.
Mm-hmm. Oh, we all know how that works out.
Those are my 3 favorite quotes from Dobby's Reward. 3 of my favorite quotes, honestly, from this entire book. Ones that I say quite often.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, it's just, I just loved that we got to this chapter, and I'm like, and I love this moment, and I love this moment, and I love this one.
You know what I love too is that at one of the Harry Potter worlds, or it's the display in Warner Brothers or something. There's a big case, and in the case is the figurine of Dobby, like a big life-size model of Dobby, and everybody who goes, they put socks on the little placard next to Dobby saying that who it is and what his character is and what his role is in the film. And there's always a bunch of socks just laying on the placard. Isn't that so
that
cool?
Is so great.
I just
so great.
That's one of those things that's an organic thing that just needs to constantly happen.
And there are many people with stinky feet, with one stinky foot walking around somewhere. Well, before we get into this podcast episode, we would love to invite you to join us on social media. If you're not joining us here live, we're actually on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. You can also simply go to maryandblake.com. It's a beautiful website that my stunning husband created. So if you haven't been there, check it out. Tons of fun things there. If you only know us through the Potterverse, head on over to maryandblake.com, because you're going to be like, they do this, they do this, they do this. Yes, we do. Mm-hmm. We don't sleep. There you can find all the podcasts and blogs. And of course, we would love to invite you to head on over to jointhenerdclan.com. I'm going to warn you all, okay? Holiday time is coming, and our friends at jointhenerdclan.com, those who are at the Klansman level, get a holiday card from us. So if you love holiday cheer, as I do, you're going to want to get that card. And then our friends who are what's the next level?
Associate producers.
Really?
Yeah, associate producers.
Associate producers get a present.
No, that's the Sassenach level.
Yes, if you're a Sassenach, you get a present. And the present that Blake is working on, you are our friends at the Potterverse are certainly going to like. Yes. So head on over to jointhenerdclan.com to become a patron of us there.
All right, you ready to get into the show, Marvin?
Yes.
Let's do it.
I solemnly swear that I'm up to no good.
Well, in this chapter, as a quick little refresh, Harry comes out and tells Dumbledore, McGonagall, and the Weasleys what actually happened in the Chamber of Secrets. Oh, by the way, I've been hearing voices all year long. We saw Aragog. It wasn't Hagrid. Bada bing, bada boom. Ow. And, Gilderoy Lockhart doesn't remember a bloody thing.
That's right.
And he frees Dobby. Way to go, Harry Potter. You're Harry freaking Potter.
I'm Harry freaking Potter.
I was out of key, but still. And Lucius Malfoy gets his moment where he begins to hate Harry Potter.
Oh, and I think the world gets to hate Lucius Malfoy at this point. Not that they didn't already, but this is definitely an opportunity for the entire world to hate Lucius Malfoy. One thing I will say, Mary, and I would love your opinion on this. One of the things that we try to do whenever we talk about any particular property that we're analyzing or breaking down, or we're just fans of, what's the theme? What is the theme of what we're talking about, what we're reading, what we're watching, what we're breaking down? And as most of you know, this is a Mary and Blake commandment. A theme cannot just be a word. It cannot be love or
because those are the kind of themes I love, Blake. So you're going to have to tell us what the theme is.
No, the Mary and Blake commandment is that a theme must be a question or a statement. It must be something that you have to prove. It is almost like what we call a thesis, something that you must prove.
I never had to write a thesis.
I did.
I had a senior recital.
I had a senior thesis. It was 100 pages long. And in order to graduate, I needed to write one.
I needed to have an hour-long performance on my saxophone.
I would much rather write a thesis.
Yes, you would.
Yes, thank you so much. So the theme for today's, well, actually for this book,
For the book, not even just for the chapter?
Yes,
You're not
for the
you're
book.
doing the book, even though our mailbag episode is the next one?
Yes, because I
Okay.
think it will inform our discussion, and we
Okay.
don't have to spend a whole ton of time on it. But I think it will inform the discussion.
Okay.
And the beautiful part about it is, I think the theme that we are tackling in this book is actually laid out plainly in this chapter, which is why I'm bringing it up. It is, in fact, it is our choices, Harry, that show what we truly are, far more than our abilities. That is very lyrical, and it's something that well written and well said by Dumbledore. But for me, it is simply, what are we? What makes us who we are? Is it our choices? Is it
it's tissue
our
and
abilities?
Kidding.
Very funny, Marvin. Very funny. So my question to you, Mary, is, do you agree if that is the theme for the book, and do you think that will inform the rest of this chapter that we're talking about?
I would beg to differ that this is actually the theme of the series.
Oh, look at you.
Bam! Just like that. A winner!
Good job.
Yeah, so I'm often battling my feelings for Dumbledore. That's no, thing that I hide on this podcast. There are chapters where I'm like, wow, you are a terrible adult. And then there's other ones where I'm like, I see what you're doing here. And in this chapter, I'm down with the Dumbledore.
Sure.
And it's because of this choices quote, and how he is smiling at Harry because he knows that Harry is the only one who has the ability to defeat Voldemort. If Voldemort can even be defeated, Dumbledore can't do it for Harry. Dumbledore just can't. So as much as he is putting this now 12-year-old's life in peril, he needs to see, is Harry the one?
Sure.
Is he really the one? Like, I'm just going to sit back and watch. And sure enough, like, he has these resources. He gets Fox, he gets the sword, he gets the sorting hat. But really, this is another person who is very powerful, who could choose Slytherin, who could just choose to team up with Voldemort. You know what I mean? Like, you think about how some of the Death Eaters wondered, like when Draco Malfoy first met him, he wanted to be his friend. It makes you wonder how many people who followed the Dark Lord were like, maybe Harry Potter's the new Dark Lord. Maybe he's even worse than Voldemort, so we want to be on his team. But Harry chooses good.
Right.
Time and time again.
Well, that's actually a great segue. It's almost like you're a professional, Mary. That's a great segue into what I wanted to talk about, I think, for... I think a large part of this chapter, but also kind of in the book for the rest of the book as well, which is, what are the choices do you think that Harry makes that sets him apart from Tom Riddle? What makes him him? What makes Harry a Gryffindor? What sets him aside from Tom? What do you think that is?
Let's see. I mean, just his absolute compassion. I think that Harry Potter is one of, if not the most compassionate character in these books. He's always still trying to be kind and considerate, even for people like Moaning Myrtle. You know what I mean? Like, who kind of are a bit annoying. He still is kind to them. Kindness.
Sure.
Trying to do the right thing for the greater good, for the lack of better words, because that's like a swear word when you're talking, Deathly Hallows.
Oh, sure.
Okay, But he truly is looking for the greater good. I think that he is compassionate towards Muggles. I think that that is a major, huge difference, even though the Muggles that he's grown up with his entire life treated him poorly, which Tom Riddle had the same. Tom Riddle's dad, who was a Muggle, abandoned his family because he found out about the witches. Harry Potter's family abandoned the whole notion that Harry could even be a wizard, abandoned the truth, and yet Harry doesn't hate Muggles as a whole.
Right, yeah. Which is something I think, too, Mary, that you bring up, and it's really a salient point, meaning... As we've discussed a lot, and I think we will continue to discuss in later books, one of the things that we know is that Harry and Tom, or in later books, Lord Voldemort, they are protagonist, antagonist. They share that relationship. And a key component, as we've discussed many times, of that relationship is that the antagonist and protagonist have to want the same thing. They have to compete for the same thing, and they both have to make each other make choices they wouldn't ordinarily make.
Yep.
And I say that because, especially in this book, Harry and Tom Riddle want the same thing, and I think that is to find their place. I think that is
Harry and Tom Riddle, not Harry and Voldemort. We're talking 16-year-old Tom Riddle.
Yeah, but I would even argue Voldemort too. I would argue Voldemort too because he wants to find his own place in the world.
I love how we say his name differently.
I know, it's true. I think he wants to find his own place in the world as well, meaning his place in a world where he runs it, or the world where it's only purebloods. It's only that kind of thing. And think of that too. Think of that movement where Tom Riddle is saying, "I don't care about killing mudbloods. I just care about you, Harry." Though I think Voldemort in later books does care about killing mudbloods and having that status and having the world as he knows it, pure blood. But regardless, I think they are fighting for the same thing. They're just doing it in two completely different ways. And Riddle is framing people. He is doing things to suit his own whimsy. He's doing it to suit his own personal gains, his own personal needs. Harry, on the other hand, is doing his actions and fighting and creating a community because of his friends, of the love of his community.
Yep.
It's something that is selfless, as opposed to Tom Riddle's selfish motivations.
Well, and speaking of community, this chapter is when Harry is out of the Chamber of Secrets. And Tom Riddle's memory is gone. The Horcrux has been defeated.
Yep.
And so Harry gets to be reunited. Harry is frequently alone in these challenges, whether one of his friends is hurt or one of the friends is gone. I mean, I was just thinking about it today. I, for a moment, forgot that this was the same book with Polyjuice Potion. So Hermione not only was in the hospital wing looking like a cat for a significant long time, then she finally gets out and she gets petrified.
Right. Almost immediately.
Yes.
Poor Hermione got
Seriously.
the bag in this book. She got the bag.
But Ron gets it most of the time. I mean, between, getting bit by the dragon and the issue that he has in the next book by being, he's back in the hospital again. He's back in the hospital again after being bitten by Sirius.
Sure.
Which is a dog, a real dog this time. At least he gets bit by a dog at light. He goes back to Madame Pomfrey and she's like, "What's wrong with you now?" I was bit by a dog, and she rolls her eyes. "Oh yeah, sure, it's a dog."
Yeah.
This guy always says it's a dog. Anyway, so we're in this chapter, and Harry is there with Dumbledore, with McGonagall, the Weasleys, and the truth comes out. The teachers and the adults are shocked that the kids were able to find Ginny just to begin with, because for the most part, they don't really know what's been going on. They didn't know the entrance for how to find the Chamber of Secrets. They didn't know how he got out. And McGonagall, I'm not going to lie, I don't think I dig her vibe in this chapter. I think we'd all like to know that. How did you do it? And, it's just pretty upset. She's the one that says, "Very well, so you found out where the entrance was, breaking 100 school rules into pieces along the way, might I add. But how on our earth did you get out of there alive?" Like, why does she have to throw it in there that they broke school rules?
Because they did it again. And
But,
Dumbledore was the one. He even says it. "Listen, I told you, if you broke rules again, you guys were going to get expelled."
Yeah, but he's saying that while he's smiling.
No, I know.
So, but McGonagall is not. Like, she's just kind of like, "You did it again." When we just saved your job, girlfriend.
Right. We just saved you.
Yeah.
We saved
saved
everything.
Hogwarts.
Yeah. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
How about the fact that the Weasleys, the parents, are finally here? They're finally made aware of stuff that has been happening, and they're chilling now. They're just
Well,
waiting.
Ron was not writing to them this year, saying, "Oh, and by the way, my wand's broken.
Yeah, sure.
And all this scary stuff's happening."
Which means then someone at the school took it upon themselves to contact the Weasleys about what's
It was
going on.
McGonagall, I bet.
Yeah, I'm sure that it was.
Like, if your child's petrified, we probably won't contact you, and if they're petrified for half a year. But if they're in the Chamber of Secrets and most likely dead, since that's what the sign said,
Yeah.
her dead body will lay in the Chamber of Secrets forever.
Not great, Bob.
Probably need to send an owl.
Yeah. just little bit of a notification.
Yeah.
I like the visual in my brain of both Weasley parents sitting in Dumbledore's office, just fretting, sweating, and like fretting over their kid and all of their kids and what's happening. And Molly's probably going full saber-toothed tiger. And they're looking at Dumbledore for answers, yet he has none. And then all of a sudden, there's Harry, Ginny, and Ron with Lockhart and Fox.
Stroll on in.
They just show up. Oh my God, you're finally here.
Yes.
And Dumbledore's like, yep, see, told you. Figured it out.
Yep.
There's no explanation, by the way, where Dumbledore went. There's no explanation of what happened, what he was doing, if he was eating some cake, listening to Kelly.
He was eating cake.
Listening to Kelly.
No, I mean, he was away, and then he was brought back because of Ginny. So there is explanation. So he was away because the board of directors or whatever, board of governors kicked him out. Yeah. And then when Ginny was said to be down in the Chamber of Secrets, the board voted him to come back because he managed it best. So that's why he suddenly came out. But he handles it just quite easily. You're right. It's not like he's leading a search party. He's not in the library really trying to dig deep and figure out the Chamber of Secrets location. You know, this goes to also show you how smart Tom Riddle truly was. Because Dumbledore even says it, that Tom Riddle was truly the most brilliant student that Hogwarts ever had.
Yep.
Tom Riddle was able to figure out everything about the Chamber of Secrets, including where the location was, like how to get into it, where, which bathroom, all these different things. By the time he was 16, in 5 years of his time at Hogwarts, Dumbledore has been there all these years.
Right.
Okay, knew that was Voldemort, and he's been in the school. Like, what are you doing over summer break, Dumbledore? Are you not looking for the Chamber of Secrets? Are you meaning to tell me that over 50 years, at least, you couldn't have researched what Tom Riddle researched in just 5 years?
And another thing that we actually talked about earlier in this series for the Chamber of Secrets, Mary, is how did people not know that Tom Riddle was Voldemort? Like, how do they not know that history? And what I'm getting at is nobody recognized Voldemort as Riddle because he had changed himself and he had gone so far deep into dark magic that nobody even connected the two except for Dumbledore. And I wanted to bring that up just because there's actually an explanation on the history of it, how nobody knew this was Riddle. It was just Voldemort. This guy, Voldemort, just showed up and was doing what he was doing.
It's like Lady Gaga. Like, how many people actually knew her as a performer before she was Lady Gaga? Because she was still a performer, but now you just know her by her stage name.
Jane Baker here on Facebook actually asks an important question, which is, what was the purpose of the Chamber of Secrets, Mary?
The purpose was to house the basilisk,
Yes.
so that the basilisk could sneak around the school and kill Muggle-born children.
My question to you, Jane, is, do you mean the physical Chamber of Secrets, or are you asking the book, The Chamber of Secrets?
Good question, because I just asked about the physical Chamber of Secrets.
Right. So I would, obviously you're still watching, so why don't you comment back up on the thread here,
please.
and we'll hopefully discuss that question. Mr. Weasley kind of gets on Ginny for taking part in, just falling prey to the diary, being like, what are you doing? I told you not to do stuff and look at these things if it seems to have a mind of its own. It's obviously full of dark magic, blah, 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 blah. Do you think he's a little out of line here?
I think that he's acting out of a place of fear. So take the current environment right now.
Sure.
Okay. Some people are acting a little differently than they would normally because they may be acting out of a place of fear. Okay. So when that happens and you're all shook up and your adrenaline's going, obviously Arthur Weasley doesn't necessarily have the kind maternal instincts as much as Molly Weasley does. So yeah, he's more like, you knew better and of course you shouldn't do that. But a lot of parents do that. You know, a lot of parents, when a kid does something stupid, but they get severely hurt, like, why did you do that? You know you're not supposed to do that.
Yeah.
You know? So I'm not like too upset with him. What is interesting though is how shocked he is that Ginny was possessed. They call it enchant, you know, but it's he possesses her. It's like, what's that? You know who? Enchant Ginny? But Ginny's not Ginny, has she? And it's like this defiling of his youngest child, of his daughter.
Yeah, we have to talk about the seriousness. I know we glanced upon it last episode and last chapter, but the seriousness of what Ginny just experienced is, I mean, she's going to need all the copays. She needs every single copay that has ever existed for all the therapy she's going to have.
Yes, agreed.
I think there's a distinct faction of people. Well, two different factions. Either you are pro Ginny or you are anti Ginny in the Harry Potter world. Do you find yourself in the pro Ginny category?
I'm a pro Ginny.
I'm kind of anti Ginny.
I know.
But reading the book,
you can be anti movie Ginny, but pro book Ginny, because pro book Ginny is a beast. She is a strong, assertive woman who knows what she wants.
Well,
and also was possessed by the Dark Lord and lived to tell the tale at the mere age of 11.
Right. So my recollection of book Ginny in later books was that I was not impressed.
Oh, well, now that you've actually been reading the beginning books, we will see the growth of Ginny Weasley and how she doesn't need a man. And she is hot and can get any man she wants, but she doesn't need a man. Okay, she's got her own life going on. She's not gonna wait around. She's an awesome. No, just hold on tight. Just hold on tight and trust.
Right.
We did have Jane clarify why the Chamber of Secrets was built, the physical thing. So Salazar Slytherin, who was one of the founders of the Hogwarts house, he did not believe that any child should be allowed into Hogwarts. He believed that it should just be purebloods. He did not want half-bloods. He didn't want muggle-borns. He didn't want any of that mixing in. And the other founders of Hogwarts disagreed with him, in particular Gryffindor, Godric Gryffindor. They really disagreed. So actually, Salazar Slytherin broke up and left Hogwarts. But before he did, he created the Chamber of Secrets with the basilisk inside and made this whole thing that one day my heir will come back, will release this monster from the Chamber of Secrets, and will rid the school of all of the Muggle-borns.
The question of the heir, this is an important one. We see, is it really only the heir that can open the Chamber of Secrets?
Because of the parcel tongue.
Yeah, but is that an heir? Because Harry has parcel tongue, but he's a parcel mouth, but he's not the heir of Slytherin.
The only reason that he's parcel, he speaks parcel mouth is because Voldemort accidentally made him a Horcrux.
But Ginny also opens the Chamber of Secrets.
Because she's possessed by Tom Riddle Voldemort.
Right. So can it be only like the way that I interpret the heir of Slytherin is that it is so Voldemort or Tom Riddle is the heir of Slytherin. He's the last known.
You need to be able to say, open.
Yeah, so I guess what it comes down to.
Because Ron Weasley opens up the Chamber of Secrets in the last book.
That's what I'm getting at. So it's not that you have to be the heir of Slytherin. It's that you have to know parcel tongue.
Yes.
So
be a parcel mouth or be able to at least speak open in parcel tongue.
Yes.
Yes.
So I think that's one of those things.
If you want to command the basilisk, you need to be
you need to be
parcel.
like fully fluent
in
parcel tongue.
You kill him, he's right behind you. You can still smell him. Don't worry about the bird. Yes.
Yeah,
So
I think
talking-
that's a myth that is just I think needs to be clarified. Like, it's not necessarily that you have to be a dark wizard or that you have to be the heir of Slytherin. It's just that you need to know Parseltongue.
Which is something that he passed down through his family, I guess.
Sure.
Okay. So here we are, hanging out. Harry makes sure that Ginny is protected. This is still, I'm telling you guys, like, Harry has at least a soft spot for Ginny. I'm not saying that he's hankering for a hunk of her. She's still little, okay? But he has a soft spot for her because he can tell that she's getting nervous, and he does not necessarily let her take the fall. Because she starts off his diary. I've been writing in it. He's been writing back, and that's where Mr. Weasley reams into her. How dare you? I've told you that you shouldn't be trusting something where you don't know where it keeps its brain.
Right.
Love that line, by the way. And Dumbledore right away is like, she's not in trouble. Like, this child has literally been possessed by Voldemort all year. Like, you go upstairs and go get some chocolate. Can I just note that I think Harry Potter is part of the reason why when I feel bad, I do want chocolate. Because it's the solution to everything.
Yeah, you get your soul sucked out by
A Dementor, like literally the worst feeling ever in the entire world.
have some chocolate.
Have some chocolate.
Go to the Chamber of Secrets and get possessed by Tom Riddle. Have some chocolate.
Your mind has been blown, and all your life you didn't know that your parents were wizards, and suddenly you are. Have a chocolate frog. Chocolate.
I blame Harry Potter for all my weight issues.
Is chocolate the cure to COVID? Maybe. Maybe
I
not.
will not go there. We're just going to stay away from that one, Marvin.
No. So, yes, this is when Dumbledore says to McGonagall, like, wake everybody up. This is time for a good feast. So he's then left with Ron and Harry, where they get to talk a little bit about Lockhart. And this was such a fun part to read. I didn't realize how much Dumbledore smiled because they don't actually say that Dumbledore smiles. First off, he says, that Ron and Harry are going to get special rewards. And then he says, but one of us seems to be keeping mildly quiet about his part in this dangerous adventure. Dumbledore added, why so modest, Gilderoy? And then Harry gave a start. He had completely forgotten about Lockhart. He turned and saw that Lockhart was just standing in a corner of the room, still wearing his vague smile. When Dumbledore addressed him, Lockhart looked over his shoulder to see who he was talking to. Professor Dumbledore, there was an accident. And then, of course, Lockhart's so confused and everything's going on.
I love, am I a professor? Said Lockhart in mild surprise. Goodness, I expect I was hopeless, was I?
Dear me, said Dumbledore, shaking his head, his long silver mustache quivering. And I'm not going to lie, I didn't realize it's because he's like chuckling to himself.
Yeah, he's like laughing to himself.
Yeah, I think I just kind of, I've just read past that quickly. Impaled upon your own sword, Gilderoy. Like, it won't say that he's like smiling, that he's smirking, It's just his silver mustache quivering. And then it happens again later on.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Sword? Said Lockhart dimly. Haven't got a sword. That boy has, though. He pointed at Harry. He'll lend you one. Hold on. Oh, you know what?
Gilderoy.
Makes me want to shout. The official last outstanding for Professor Gilderoy Lockhart.
Oh, my goodness
He'll
gracious.
lend you one.
Seriously.
Oh, man.
So Ron takes Gilderoy away.
Yes.
And this is where Harry and Dumbledore have their heart-to-heart. They talk about how Harry was not put in Slytherin. He realizes that he was able to draw out the sword of Godric Gryffindor. And, talking about bringing Hagrid back. And this, of course, is when Lucius Malfoy comes in. So this is the middle of the night. Dumbledore just got sent back because this was all that same night. Like, Aragog was the same night. This was a long night. Something happened there. This was a long, long night for Harry Potter, okay? Mm-hmm. He literally was just, like, chased throughout the Forbidden Forest, got into the Fort Anglia, ended up in the Chamber of Secrets, saved the day, Gilderoy Lockhart, Tom Riddle, all this stuff. And in the meantime, the board has brought Dumbledore back to save the school. Mm-hmm. Lucius Malfoy wakes up and he's all disheveled because he gets the memo, that Dumbledore is back.
And Dumbledore calls him out, too. He's being like, yeah, hey, it's odd, this thing that, the 11 other governors said that you would curse their families if I wasn't removed. So you care to explain that? I just
And
love
once
how
again,
Dumbledore
he does that smiling serenely.
Right.
Oh, funny thing. So Dumbledore straight up looks into Mr. Malfoy and is like, it was the same person that did it. It was Lord Voldemort. He was acting through somebody else. And it's like Dumbledore knows it's from Malfoy, which I don't feel like I get that gist in the movie.
Definitely don't get that in the movie.
If you see this, so of course Dobby's looking at Harry and trying to make the connection. But listen to this passage about Dumbledore. "A clever plan," said Dumbledore in a level voice, still staring Mr. Malfoy straight in the eye.
Right.
So making that eye contact that we know is so important when you're reading someone's mind in the Potterverse. Because if Harry here, Mr. Malfoy shot Harry a swift, sharp look, and his friend Ron hadn't discovered this book, why, Ginny Weasley might have taken the blame. No one would have been able to prove she hadn't acted of her own free will. And imagine what might have happened then. The Weasleys are one of the most prominent pure-blood families. Imagine the effect on Arthur Weasley and his Muggle Protection Act if his own daughter was discovered attacking and killing Muggleborns.
Very fortunate the diary was discovered and Riddle's memories wiped from it. Who knows what the consequences might have been otherwise?
So right now, I've read this so many times. Right now, we've debated this back and forth. Did Lucius Malfoy mean to put it in Ginny Weasley's cauldron?
Right.
Dumbledore is staring Malfoy in the eye as he's saying this, saying, oh, imagine what this would do to Arthur Weasley and the Muggle Protection Act. I feel like Dumbledore is telling us, the readers, I am reading Lucius Malfoy's mind. He did this all on purpose to Ginny Weasley to get the 2 birds with 1 stone.
Yeah, I think there's enough text here to suggest, Mary, that you might be right. You got to squint, I think, to see it, but I think there's enough there. I think that you can make the argument that Dumbledore knows his intent, has read his mind, and this is the legilimens of it all. That knowledge comes from later books. So you have to look at it in hindsight.
Yeah.
And granted, we have that hindsight right now. Would you get that from this book without your future knowledge of legilimens? I don't know. But in hindsight, I think you can make the argument.
And then, of course, something else that I think is different in the movie is Harry calls Lucius Malfoy out in front of Dumbledore.
Yeah.
You gave it to her in Flourish and Blot, so you picked up her old Transfiguration book
Gryffindor.
and slipped the diary inside it, didn't you? And Malfoy says, prove it.
Yeah.
And Dumbledore says, oh, no one will be able to do that. Not now that Riddle has vanished from the book. On the other hand, I would advise you, Lucius, not to go giving out any more of Lord Voldemort's old school things. If any more of them find their way into innocent hands, I think Arthur Weasley, for one, will make sure they are traced back to you. So here's an interesting question for you.
Yep.
And maybe we'll pick it up in the beginning of the next book. Do the Weasleys find out? Does Arthur Weasley find out that this was Lucius Malfoy's fault?
Oh, that's a great question, Mary. Because
wouldn't Harry tell Ron right away? Because he tells Ron everything.
Sure.
And then wouldn't Ron tell his dad? Because they hate the Malfoys.
Yeah, you would think that conversation would probably come up, number one, and then number two, Ron would tell his dad. I wonder.
And then
I wonder.
Who are you? Love it. And then, of course, we get this extremely amazing moment where Harry gives the book back with his dirty, stinky sock inside, and Dobby is free. Harry, of course, begs Dobby to please never save my life again. Ha ha ha. Sad face. And this is an interesting part. Harry asked Dobby, you told me that this had nothing to do with he who must not be named, remember? And Dobby says, it was a clue, sir. I was giving you a clue. The Dark Lord, before he changed his name, could be freely named, you see? this part, like, I don't really understand.
And I will tell you, Mary, that neither do I.
Okay.
I don't either.
Which is why I probably like don't even realize it when I'm just doing a fun reread.
I even went back to the chapter where, Dobby
Dobby's
is
in
giving
his
the
room,
warning.
yeah.
And I don't get it. I still don't. Maybe someone who has a higher pay grade than me or someone who's way smarter than me they could figure it out, but I don't get it.
So the way that I got it, at least, was, all this happens and Harry says, right. I got it as like, right. Didn't make sense,
Yeah,
Dobby. That
sure.
one went over my
Yeah,
head.
great one,
Terrible
Dobby.
clue, Dobby. You did a much better job when you were looking at the book and looking at Lucius Malfoy. You could have done that a few months
Not
ago
great,
or written me
Bob.
a bloody note. Okay, well, better go. There's our feast. So, of course, they go and they have this feast all night long. Hagrid comes back. Of course, Gryffindor wins the House Cup because they get 200 points each.
50 million points for Harry Potter because he changed his pants.
Oh, my goodness gracious. And then we ended, of course, at King's Cross. We hear about Percy snogging, and Harry tells Ron to give him a phone call. And we leave with this really fun bit. Ron's asking, your aunt and uncle will be proud, though, won't they? Oh, this is Hermione, as they get off the chain, joined by the crowd thronging towards the enchanted barrier. When they hear what you did this year, like, look at Hermione. She still doesn't get it. And Harry says, proud, are you crazy? All those times I could have died and I didn't manage it, they'll be furious.
A couple of things before we end our analysis of this chapter, Mary. Dobby's magic. Dobby is no joke. And it's
In
obvious.
what sense?
In
his magical abilities?
His ability.
Okay.
I say that because Lucius doesn't even attempt to fight back after Dobby gives him the business. Doesn't even attempt to try to find a way to retain Dobby as his servant. He just up and leaves. That's it. See you later.
Yep.
And Dobby's assertiveness in protecting Harry is so forceful. It is so specific that it makes you, I think, realize as a reader, no joke here. And it also illuminates elf magic in general, where elf magic seems to be different than wizard magic and perhaps more powerful. Would you agree with that?
Perhaps. I think that the creatures of the wizarding world have a lot of powers that wizards don't understand, don't appreciate, but also are fearful of. You know what I mean? Like when you think later about Umbridge and the centaurs, she's fearful of them. She's calling them, these hideous beasts or whatever, and she's putting them down. But really, they have powers that she doesn't understand. I think the same is with house elves. Even though they are servants to the Malfoys, once they are free, I don't know what happens.
Sure.
I think that Lucius is tired. He obviously was a disheveled mess and he's just done. It's like one more thing to my plate. Fine. I lost myself a house elf. Fine.
Whatevs.
Yeah.
The ending.
But you're right. He doesn't even try to fight it. And
this chapter is a neat little bow for the book. We see all the journeys, and I definitely want to get into Harry's journey. Just as a taste, we will definitely analyze it more in our wrap-up episode to come. But Dobby is now free. Malfoy is a mess. He loses his job as school governor. It seems that Dumbledore is now really on to him. Ginny is free of Tom Riddle, and she can
having hot chocolate.
Yes, so much hot chocolate. She can go and fall in love with Harry if she wants, or she can do anything that she pleases. She is free of Tom Riddle. Gryffindor wins the House Cup.
Surprise, surprise.
Hermione is back alive and not a cat and not petrified. And the tests have been canceled. Harry is understanding of who he is and a little bit more. He's happy. He is heading back into the Muggle world. Ron is understanding of his family. He appreciates his family. it's a nice little bow.
It is.
And it ties everything together. We even get an acknowledgement of Percy and Penelope Clearwater, which is something, which is one of the, again, that story engineering. I would say that this is a little bit of a cheap end to that, but it is something that has been popping up throughout the whole book, and the author takes the time to put a bow on that as well.
Yep.
Would you call this ending effective for this book?
Oh yes. It's a delightful book to read. It really, really is. And I had a lot of fun taking the time to dig deep and kind of dredge through all of this and really comb through and find all these extra little bits that, because we've taken the time doing 2 chapters a week, I really got to savor.
Sure.
You know, it's one thing when I do these rereads of these books that I frequently flip through them quickly. You know, I read them, but I just lap it all up because I just want to immerse myself as much as possible into the Potterverse, and slowing down to savor it has been a real treat. So I'm excited for our next episode where we get to, you know, really wrap up the Chamber of Secrets in entirety, and especially with our listeners' questions and feedback that can be emailed to us at marianblakemedia@gmail.com. But did you have any lasting thoughts?
I do. There's one thing that I have to mention. And because it's about Harry, it's about Harry, and he's the namesake of the book. And the way that this chapter ends, I think there's real intent here. There's real intent. You said it, Mary Proud, said Harry. Are you mad? All those times I could have died and I didn't even manage it? They'll be furious. Mentioning, of course, the Dursleys and the family that he's going back home to. And together, they walked back through the gateway to the Muggle world. Those are the final words of this book. And if you recall, where does Harry begin this book? He is alone, separated from his friends, questioning his role in the wizarding world, questioning his own makeup, who he is, what he is capable of doing. And yet, at the end of this book, through his friends and his friendship, he reasserts the fact that he gives his friends his number. Please call me. It's a Muggle thing. But
I told your dad how to do it, but
and he is offering that. It's not just the magical world that is saving Harry. Harry is offering a Muggle portion of himself to the magical world to reconnect. It's a synthesis of magical and
not
Muggle.
Dependent upon owls,
right?
Especially because Hedwig's not allowed out.
Yes, that's right. And I also like the fact too here that the book is bidding us as readers adieu. It's bidding us goodbye. Yeah, and it's saying, you read through this magical world, and like Harry, it's time to go back to your world. I think that's that meta commentary that I think the author is putting in there. It's something that we have to understand. Harry is not a permanent fixture of the magical world. He has to go back to the Dursleys. He has to continue his normal, regular life. And that's what makes Hogwarts special for him. That's what makes Hogwarts special for us. That's what makes Harry special for us as readers. And I find that synthesis and that goodbye really special.
Because he's going back to the Muggle world, and as we close this book, we have to go back to the Muggle world for a little bit. Yeah,
exactly.
No, I love it.
Can I say right off the jump, the ending of the movie sucks in comparison to this.
Yes.
It's not all the stuff that happens prior to. It's the movie ending on everybody hugging Hagrid and yay, and then they have the big panning shot of.
I mean, we're going to be doing our commentary.
I know, but I'm saying right off the jump right now, just so you all understand, this ending I think is so much more thematically full and complete than what we got in the film.
Too. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, that being said, we're going to switch on gears.
Yes.
But before we do, I wanted to remind you that in addition to podcasting, I love to help people feel more confident and creative with their makeup and their skincare. So I am doing 7 weeks of holiday bundles, which are discounted fun items. You can learn more by searching the hashtag Minute with Mary I would honestly love it if you just send me a message. If you've been listening and you're like, I feel weird messaging Mary, please don't. I'm like just a normal person just like you. And I would love to invite you to my private Facebook group or connect with you on Instagram. So search the hashtag Minute with Mary so that way you can learn about the special deals that I have going on. Or you can just go to minutewithmary.com.
You ready for the different perspective?
I am.
Let's do it.
Holy cricket! You're Harry Potter! I'm Hermione Granger. And you are?
Mary, I did it last week. It's your turn this week. What do you got for a different perspective? Somebody you want to take the perspective of in this book that is not Harry Potter and give us a little bit of an enlightening mood or enlightening suggestion that you think that is accomplished in this chapter.
I am Molly Weasley.
Okay, what do you got?
Okay.
Mom to mom, what do you got?
So let's be real. I may have dropped off all of my kids to Hogwarts earlier this year. Something I have been looking forward to for about 2 decades of my life.
From what I remember, Molly, you got a little day drunk too.
Yeah. I mean, we lost our car, and at first I wondered if it was because we went to the pub for a little too long and we didn't know where we parked it. But we did actually lose our car. One of our children, our second to youngest, got rid of it. But, after that, I just YOLO, man. Like, whatever. I don't even like the car. So Arthur and I have had the most amazing, and I mean amazing, several months together. Half of our kids didn't even come home for Christmas.
Yeah.
What? That's so good.
Didn't you go to Egypt?
Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes, I went on a vacation. I worked on my tan. I have been knitting so much stuff because I'm not bothered. Mom, where's my snack? Mom, where's my snack? Mom, where's my snack? It has been probably the best year of my life until, that is, last night when I got an owl.
Mm-hmm.
I never hear from Hogwarts. Never hear from them. None of my kids write to me. It's fine. It actually is fine. I could use a break.
You're a little sad about it, but it's okay.
But not really. Whatevs. I got this owl, though, saying, everything we think will be fine for most of your kids, but Ginny's in this chamber of secrets, and we're pretty sure that she's dead. Please.
The latest one, the one that you just sent to you.
Your only daughter.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're pretty sure she might be dead. Can you please come here?
We don't know what we're doing.
No. So I was like, Arthur, I got this owl. Where's the car? Oh. Yep. Because you know what you can't do? Can't apparate to Hogwarts.
Can't get there. Can't do it.
Really could use a Ford Anglia right now.
With all the extra enchanted room that you didn't know about, by the way.
The Hogwarts Express doesn't come until tomorrow morning. My daughter may be totally dead by then. So, we had to flu powder all over the place. It was something.
It was dirty.
Very. Okay. I don't even know where we landed. I get there and Dumbledore's there. Just keeps trying to feed me chocolate. I don't know what's up with this guy. Ginny's fine. Thank God for Harry Potter. I mean, I could just, that boy can come in my family anytime he wants.
Right up.
Seriously.
Eat
so
him right
all is well. I guess my car's fine. It's in a
Did
woods.
you take up any other fun things?
Yeah,
any
I
other
went wine
hobbies?
testing, wine tasting. That's what I did.
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
I
We were in
gotcha.
Napa. It was great. Until I actually needed a car.
Oh, and you got screwed.
And now they're here all summer. All of them, including Fred and George.
Oh.
They didn't come to Egypt. Do you know how nice that is?
And all they're gonna do.
My eyes twitching right now.
And all they're gonna do is just make fun of Percy for his new girlfriend.
I don't.
How are you even gonna handle that?
Doritos and melatonin. And
Just like that. A winner!
Good job, Molly. I like that. Not bad.
all right, now it's time for our emails and questions. So if you're joining us live on the chat, we've got some chatter coming in on our Instagram. Yay! Lindsay Gilbertson wants to know: have your kids read the Chamber of Secrets yet? If so,
Oh wait, we gotta play the.
that's
we
the.
We
Yes,
gotta play
sorry.
the music.
Yes. So if you have questions on our live chat, please begin it with a lightning bolt emoji.
Yes, and if you are listening to this on the podcast app, you are not left out.
No.
please send all the questions that you may or may not have. We already have received a bunch of them for the mailbag episode. So please send your questions to maryandblakemedia@gmail.com, and we will put them into the mailbag episode. And as Mary just said, if you are in the live chat, put your question, give us a lightning bolt emoji so we know whether you are on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube. We will see it and answer your question. Marvin, you ready for the list of questions? Let's get her done.
Oh, Miles here.
All right, now read the first question, my darling.
Lindsay Gilbertson over on Instagram. Hey there, Lindsay. She asks, have your kids read The Chamber of Secrets yet? And if so, what were their favorite moments? So our children, who are 5 and 7, they have read through Goblet of Fire. They have not seen Goblet of Fire.
Well, they have not read it. They've listened to it.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
They don't read those books, but yes, they listen to Jim Dale or
they
us
read
them.
Just not those
yes,
books.
Yeah, they're not that level yet. But their favorite moments of the Chamber of Secrets. What do you think?
Well, our son loves Lockhart. Loves him some Lockhart, just like his dad.
He made his own Magical Me book.
Free of charge.
No, he literally drew a book and put
he
Magical
gave it to me. He gave it to me free of charge.
Oh man, what else?
So yes,
they're really interested in the basilisk.
Yes. Oh, and they love actually also the soundtrack to the Chamber of Secrets.
Oh my gosh, you know what they keep singing, and it's really freaky. Like they just walk around humming those same few notes, guys, and then they'll be in different rooms like singing it in stereo, and I'm like, what's going on? Why is this what you're singing? Not something jolly, but the flippin' Chamber of Secrets music.
Yeah, that's what our kids are. They're creepy. Kids are creepy.
So, yeah, they love Lockhart. Basically everything that we as normal readers don't like. Lockhart, the basilisk. They also really like Fawkes, which I appreciate. I know that you hate on Fawkes.
I don't hate on Fawkes. He's just a deus ex machina that just shows up out of nowhere just to save the freaking day.
So they love the magical creatures. They actually have the Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them illustrated book. So whenever these magical creatures are inside, and Aragog. So that's really it. Our kids like the magical creatures.
I think so.
They're down.
I think they're down with...
They're down with the Gog.
Down with the Gog. That is the new shirt. Just a giant spider with Down with the Gog.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it. That's what we're doing.
Welcome.
Okay, yeah, so they're into it. I don't know how much they're into Azkaban quite yet, because I just haven't heard them listen to it all that much.
Azkaban is confusing them a great deal.
Yeah, I would bet.
Yeah. Caitlin Marie says, why did the Weasleys or even Dumbledore, Hagrid, or even Hermione let Harry go back to the Dursleys, knowing he was literally locked up? Like Hermione couldn't tell her parents to contact CPS or something. So this is something that is difficult. Dumbledore knows that Harry has to go back to the Dursleys every single summer.
Yes.
It needs to be his home residence so that way his mother's blood through Aunt Petunia protects him.
Yes.
So that he has that special spell of protection over him until he becomes of age. So Dumbledore knows he has to go back. He's probably like loosely said this to Minerva and to Hagrid, that he has to do it. I don't know why Hermione doesn't do anything.
I just don't think that's her place.
But on the flip side, Ron came and rescued him. So
yeah.
I think that it's tough for the kids. It's really tough for the kids.
Yeah, because how do you I've had friends that had parents that were not good people.
Yeah.
And what can I do? I'm a kid. At the time, I was a kid. Am I gonna say, "Come live with me"?
I did.
Yeah, of course you did. Such a freaking such a Gryffindor. Oh my God.
Once again, I'm Ron Weasley.
Yeah, you are Ron Weasley. Saving you, of course. All right, Victoria says...
Because I would have totally also hated on Gildor the entire year.
Oh, I would have loved him. Victoria asks, what do you think about the fact that technically it wasn't Lucius that gave Dobby that sock? Marvin, your thoughts on that? Because I think he did. He technically did give it to Dobby.
Well, I think Lucius knows, I didn't meaningfully give this to you, so I am not setting you free. But Dobby was just like, bring it on, yo. Do you want to doubt? Like, do you want to see if the magic bond is broken or not? Because I'm here and I'm ready to fight. So I think that I think Dobby was on his way out for the Malfoys. I don't know if you can like get rid of elves because Creature is with Sirius Black, and Creature and Sirius Black hate each other. So obviously Creature is stuck to Sirius Black, and Sirius doesn't like him. You know, Sirius could have gotten a Roomba. He didn't need a house elf to clean. Like, they could bewitch a broom or something. So part of me wonders if house elves...
Get a Roomba.
if house elves are... if as these magical families and these house elves, they have to be with each other for one reason or another, because I don't feel like Lucius Malfoy really enjoyed Dobby's presence. So it was probably just like, okay, fine, whatever, you can be gone. I've had a bad day already.
Britta Peterson on YouTube says, I work for an after-school program, and last week my first graders were kept humming the Imperial March from Star Wars while playing. Those are some good kids.
Yes,
keep
they
doing
are.
whatever you're doing, Britta. Just keep going with it. Our kids hum that as well. Susan Hurst asks, how close are y'all, I have to say that because that's what's written, to the goal? I just joined the Nerd Clan.
She's a little ding.
Well, you know what? You are welcome, if I could find it.
And
There
thank
it
you,
is.
Susan.
Thank
Thanks
you so
for
much.
joining the Nerd Clan.
Yeah.
How close are we to the goal of having Blake?
Oh, by the way, that's not the right sound. It's this sound.
There
There
we
you
go.
go. That's what I'm talking
How
about.
close are we, Blake, to having you don a full Hufflepuff attire?
We are about 20 members away from jointhenerdclan.com.
so
the
close.
Puffs have got to get this moving.
And I'm telling you guys, this is when you want to sign up so you can get our Christmas card or holiday card.
Yes.
And a little wee present.
A little gift that I'm putting together for everybody. So I'm quite excited about that. Let's see.
Once again, it's jointhenerdclan.com.
Yes, jointhenerdclan.com. I think that is it. That is all for the questions that we have today.
Thank you, everybody.
Down with the Gog, man.
So we are going to be coming back on... What day is today? Today is Wednesday. We're going to be here Monday night to do our mailbag wrap-up episode. After that,
Yes.
we will be doing 2 episodes about the movie. One that is just for our friends at jointhenerdclan.com that is a commentary. Like, we literally just hold our phone in between us while we watch the movie and we chat. So you can either listen along or watch and listen along. And then we're going to do a live podcast review about the movie. After that, we are taking a 1-week hiatus. It is the week of the 15th of November, as that week we are going to be binge podcasting The Crown Season 4 on Netflix.
Yes. You know what, Mary? I was just thinking about this as you were talking. Dumbledore really emphasizes the fact that there's a feast. Minerva, go make the feast. Hey, go get some hot chocolate. Harry, hurry up with Lucius because of the feast. Why do you think he's so intent on getting everybody at this feast, waking everybody up and having all this food, and especially getting Harry to the feast? Like, what do you think that is? 'Cause I have a theory, but I would love to hear your thoughts. Like, why so purposeful?
I don't know. I feel like Dumbledore just celebrates everything in life.
All the cake, all the Kelly.
Yeah. I mean, everyone's just been back from being petrified.
Yes.
So that's a really, really big deal.
Yes. Would you like to know my theory, or you want to keep going? Sorry.
Yeah, I'd love to know your theory.
My theory on it actually goes back to a little bit of Game of Thrones logic.
You know nothing, Jon Snow.
Now, it didn't completely work out for the Red Wedding, but remember, when you take...
Careful, because there's young listeners.
That's why I'm saying
Okay.
it didn't really work out. But when you go to someone's home and they give you bread and drink, you are safe in their homestead. You are safe in their presence.
Yeah.
They are welcoming you to their home, and they are welcoming you into their protection.
Yeah.
I wonder if that is a big thing for Dumbledore. Something has just been solved. A big thing that has haunted Hogwarts, even brought it to the brink of closing down.
Yeah.
Has been stopped. You are all safe now. Let's eat.
Well, and also, he's been gone up until right now. So he wants to see the students and they want to see him. And remember, the students have had to stay within their classes and in their common rooms. The only way they've maybe been able to see each other is if they have a class together. Because of the Chamber of Secrets and all the fear that's been going on within the school, pretty much they've been in lockdown like COVID style. Okay?
Yep.
So imagine the day when we all get back out together and like love on each other. Okay? If it's 1 a.m, I don't care. I will go and have a feast of pancakes with all my friends and hug them and just like stay up all night. And I think that's what it was like. Not only did they have all this fear, okay, that's what it's like. It's going to be like when COVID's done and we can just all get together and like eat, drink, and hug.
Go to the bar.
But that's...
have a couple of pints.
Yes, and not have to worry. That's the equivalent of what just happened.
I'm not even going to get a babysitter. I'm going to throw some newspaper on the ground, throw some
No,
Cheerios
stop.
on the floor. Kids, you're on your own. I'm going to have a couple of pints with Mom.
Oh, my goodness. And Marley Weasley. But that's what I think it was. I think it was, just like you said, the food and drink, it means you're safe and you're merry, but everyone wanted to see each other again.
Yes.
You know, this weight has been lifted off of us. Let's not even wait till the morning. Let's just invite everybody now. Because, you know, there are some people who have significant others who are in different houses who they may not be able to see all the time.
Right. So remember, ladies and gents, we will be doing the wrap-up and mailbag episode next Monday. Will be the next episode that we're doing. We will then also be having the commentary track, as Mary has pointed out earlier, for the members at jointhenerdclan.com. And then the episode for the entire Potterverse about the movie The Chamber of Secrets will be coming out Thursday or Friday, I think, because we're doing This Is Us on the next Wednesday.
Next Thursday.
So I would say next Thursday or Friday we'll be going live at 8:15 as always, doing the episode for The Chamber of Secrets.
It's not as always. It's willing.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Child willing.
Good point. Good point. So ready
right.
to close out the show?
Yes.
Let's do it.
Thank you all so much for being a part of the Potterverse, for being here and being our Lumos in the time of Nox. And we hope that we are that for you as well.
Thank you, everybody. Make sure you go to jointhenerdclan.com so that you do get the audio commentary from the films. The last one for the Sorcerer's Stone was a wild success. Everybody at the clan loved it. It was so much fun to do. This one's going to be a marathon, by the way, kiddo. 2.5 hours. 2.5 hours for the Chamber of Secrets.
Buckle up, buddy.
Buckle up. Hold on tight, Spider Monkey.
That's right.
Say it out loud.
Well, on that note, my name's Mary Larson.
My name is Blake.
Mischief managed.
That is it, ladies
All
and
right,
gents.
friends. Thank you so much for joining us here live. If you haven't yet taken a moment to share, please do. As I said, you can even screenshot this and put it up on your stories and just say, I spent some great time hanging out with some fellow nerds and chatting about Potter. You can use the hashtag #ThePotterverse and tag us, Mary and Blake Media, just so that other Potter fans can join on in the fun and keep going with this community. Thank you. And on that note,
You guys rock.
farewell.
All right.
Yes.
See